the overlooked vitamin that could protect your leg strength and independence well into your 90s. Imagine living in a world where reaching your 90s doesn't automatically mean surrendering your strength, mobility, and independence. Picture yourself climbing stairs with ease, walking through your neighborhood without fear, and rising from chairs without hesitation even as your birthday candles multiply year after year. While this vision may sound almost too hopeful to believe, emerging scientific research reveals that it's closer to reality than most people think. One essential nutrient often neglected, underestimated, or misunderstood holds remarkable potential for preserving leg strength, muscle mass, and balance as you age. For millions of seniors facing the creeping loss of physical function, this simple vitamin could represent the difference between maintaining an active lifestyle and living with chronic frailty. The alarming reality of falls and muscle loss after 65 every year. Nearly 1 in 4 adults over the age of 65 experiences a fall. This isn't just a minor statistic, it reflects a widespread and deeply concerning health crisis. Falls remain one of the leading causes of injury-related hospitalizations, surgeries, and long-term disability among seniors. Beyond the immediate risks of fractures, head injuries, and hospital stays, the psychological impact of falling can be just as devastating. After even one fall, many older adults develop a deep fear of walking or engaging in daily activities. This fear leads to reduced physical activity, accelerating muscle loss and balance decline in a self-perpetuating cycle of weakness and vulnerability. Muscle atrophy, known clinically as sarcopenia, begins as early as the 30s but becomes more pronounced after 60. Each passing decade can see a loss of up to 10% of muscle mass if preventive steps aren't taken. For the legs, the primary muscles responsible for mobility, balance, and injury prevention, this decline carries enormous consequences. Given this reality, the question becomes urgent. How can seniors effectively preserve their strength and reduce the risk of falls and related injuries? Recent research points decisively toward one specific vitamin that plays a pivotal role in this battle, the hidden nutritional defender against age-related muscle loss. Among all the nutrients that influence muscular health, one stands out for its direct and measurable impact on muscle function in seniors: vitamin D. This fat-soluble vitamin has long been associated with bone health and immune system support. However, in recent years, scientists have uncovered its vital role in maintaining muscle strength, coordination, and balance, factors critical for preventing falls and sustaining independence. Low vitamin D levels have been linked to increased muscle weakness, particularly in the legs and hips. Seniors with deficient vitamin D levels are at significantly higher risk of falls, difficulty walking, and overall mobility decline. Even more concerning is that vitamin D deficiency often goes unnoticed. The symptoms: generalized fatigue, leg weakness, balance problems are frequently attributed to normal aging, leaving the real issue unaddressed. Muscle tissue contains specific receptors that are activated by vitamin D. These receptors help regulate muscle protein synthesis, contraction, and repair processes. When vitamin D levels are adequate, these receptors function optimally, keeping muscles strong, responsive, and ready for physical activity. But when vitamin D falls below recommended levels, muscle fibers shrink, coordination suffers, and the risk of falls rises dramatically. The science behind vitamin D and fall prevention in a groundbreaking study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society. Researchers found that seniors who supplemented with vitamin D experienced significantly fewer falls compared to those who didn't. Another large-scale analysis involving over 5,000 participants confirmed that maintaining healthy vitamin D levels reduced the risk of falling by as much as 19%. These findings aren't just statistical footnotes, they represent real, measurable improvements in leg strength, balance recovery time, and muscle endurance. Moreover, vitamin D helps support fast-twitch muscle fibers, those responsible for quick reflexes and sudden balance corrections. When seniors trip or stumble, it's these fast-reacting fibers that help catch the body before a fall occurs. Without sufficient vitamin D, these protective mechanisms weaken, leaving the body more vulnerable to sudden losses of balance. Vitamin D also indirectly supports leg strength by enhancing calcium absorption. Calcium, as the primary mineral in bones, contributes to skeletal stability, but without enough vitamin D, even a calcium-rich diet won't translate into stronger bones or better musculoskeletal support. How aging depletes vitamin D levels. Understanding Why vitamin D deficiency becomes so common with age helps explain why muscle decline and falls increase after 60. First, as the skin ages, its ability to synthesize vitamin D from sunlight diminishes. Older adults require more sun exposure than younger individuals to produce the same amount of vitamin D. Yet many seniors spend less time outdoors, further limiting their production. Second, aging kidneys become less efficient at converting vitamin D into its active form, reducing the vitamin's effectiveness even when intake appears adequate. Third, dietary intake often falls short. Vitamin D-rich foods like fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified dairy products may not feature regularly in many seniors' diets, especially those with reduced appetites or dietary restrictions. Finally, certain medications commonly prescribed for blood pressure, cholesterol, or digestive issues can interfere with vitamin D absorption, compounding the risk of deficiency. Recognizing the warning signs of deficiency, several early warning signs can suggest vitamin D deficiency in older adults. Persistent leg weakness, especially when climbing stairs, difficulty standing up from a seated position frequent. Muscle cramps or unexplained leg pain, a sensation of heaviness in the thighs or calves, worsening balance or increased unsteadiness when walking, heightened fatigue. After simple physical tasks, if any of these symptoms are present, consulting a healthcare provider for a vitamin D blood test becomes essential. Restoring vitamin D levels safely. Replenishing vitamin D levels doesn't require complicated interventions, but it does demand consistency and medical oversight. For most seniors, moderate sun exposure around 10 to 30 minutes a few times per week on bare skin can help. However, for those living in northern latitudes or with limited outdoor access, supplementation is often necessary. Medical guidelines typically recommend between 800 to 2,000 IU international units of vitamin D, 3 per day for seniors, though individual needs may vary based on current blood levels, weight, and other health conditions. It's critical to have levels checked before starting high-dose supplementation, as too much vitamin D can lead to other complications such as hypercalcemia. Including vitamin D-rich foods in the diet also provide support. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, fortified dairy products, and plant-based milks, egg yolks, fortified cereals. Pairing vitamin D intake with magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, beans, and seeds further enhances absorption and effectiveness, helping the body utilize this crucial vitamin for muscle and nerve function. The long-term impact, safeguarding independence and mobility. Addressing vitamin D deficiency is not just about avoiding muscle cramps or improving walking endurance. It's about preventing life-altering injuries, avoiding hospital stays, and preserving the simple daily joys of movement, walking in the garden, playing with grandchildren, or shopping without fear of falling. For seniors, the stakes are high. Hip fractures, in particular, carry high morbidity and mortality rates within the first year after injury. Preventing that first fall, maintaining muscle responsiveness, and sustaining bone strength are not optional. They are essential elements of aging with dignity and freedom. By identifying and correcting vitamin D deficiency, seniors can regain a critical edge in the fight against frailty and immobility. Small changes today, more sunlight, better dietary choices, and targeted supplementation can translate into years of preserved mobility and independence. Why vitamin D is essential for lifelong strength and mobility. For those aiming to preserve leg strength, balance, and independence into their later decades, few nutrients hold as much importance as vitamin D, often overlooked and underappreciated. This single vitamin plays a central role in maintaining muscular coordination and skeletal stability, especially after the age of 60. While many people associate vitamin D solely with bone health, its influence extends far beyond the skeletal system. Vitamin D acts at the muscular level, supporting the contraction and relaxation of muscle fibers that enable basic movements, like standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, or walking without stumbling. Research has consistently shown that vitamin D deficiency leads to reduced muscle strength, especially in the lower body, weakness in the legs, slower walking speed, and increased instability all become more common as vitamin D levels decline. For older adults, this muscle weakening often translates directly into a higher risk of falls, a fact backed by several prominent scientific studies. The proven link between vitamin D and reduced fall risk. One pivotal study, published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, revealed that seniors who supplemented with vitamin D experienced 23% fewer falls compared to those who did not. This finding alone underscores how powerful vitamin D can be as a protective agent against one of the leading causes of hospitalization and injury in people over 65. Further reinforcing this connection, another study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism demonstrated that individuals with low vitamin D levels showed notably weaker leg muscles and slower gait speed. These findings suggest that vitamin D plays a fundamental role in both the strength and coordination required for safe, independent movement. Moreover, inadequate vitamin D significantly impairs calcium absorption essential for maintaining bone density. Without sufficient vitamin D, bones lose their strength, increasing susceptibility to fractures if a fall does occur over time. This combination of muscle weakening and bone fragility creates a dangerous cycle, where seniors become more prone to falls, which then lead to injuries that further reduce mobility. The hidden threat of sarcopenia and vitamin D deficiency. Sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength, affects nearly half of all individuals over the age of 80. This condition doesn't happen overnight. It builds slowly, beginning as early as the 6th decade of life. Unfortunately, low vitamin D levels accelerate this process. Without enough vitamin D, the body struggles to maintain and repair muscle tissue. This deficiency also hampers the nervous system's ability to activate muscles efficiently, leading to slower reaction times and impaired balance. Both factors combine to make everyday tasks like walking, climbing stairs, or simply standing more difficult and exhausting. As the decades advance, unaddressed sarcopenia becomes one of the leading drivers of frailty, falls, and a loss of personal independence among seniors. Vitamin D, however, provides a natural and accessible defense against this decline. How widespread is vitamin D deficiency among seniors? Shockingly, more than 60% of older adults are estimated to have insufficient vitamin D levels. This widespread deficiency spans various regions, ethnicities, and lifestyles. Seniors living in northern climates, those who spend limited time outdoors, or individuals with darker skin tones are at even greater risk, as all these factors reduce the skin's ability to produce vitamin D from sunlight. According to data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey (NHANES), seniors with low vitamin D levels face nearly double the risk of catastrophic falls and fractures compared to those with adequate levels. This highlights how vitamin D status isn't a minor nutritional concern. It's a critical factor in preserving mobility and avoiding injury-related hospitalization. In fact, a well-regarded study published in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that vitamin D supplementation was associated with a 22% reduction in hip fracture risk among women over the age of 65. This outcome reinforces vitamin D's protective effect on both muscle and bone tissue. Recognizing the warning signs of vitamin D deficiency, the symptoms of vitamin D deficiency often develop slowly, making them easy to overlook. However, several telltale signs may indicate that your body is not receiving enough of this essential nutrient. Persistent leg weakness, especially noticeable when walking or climbing stairs, a feeling of unsteadiness or wobbliness when standing, frequent muscle cramps, particularly in the thighs or calves, generalized fatigue that lingers even after rest, bone pain, or a deep aching sensation in the legs and hips, slow wound healing after minor injuries, heightened sensitivity to falls or sudden loss of balance. These warning signs reflect vitamin D's critical role in both muscular and skeletal function. Seniors experiencing one or more of these symptoms should seek a blood test to assess their vitamin D status. Left unaddressed, prolonged deficiency can lead to worsening frailty and increased dependence on others for basic daily activities. Why seniors are especially vulnerable to vitamin D deficiency. Several age-related changes make it harder for older adults to maintain healthy vitamin D levels. First, the skin's ability to synthesize vitamin D from sunlight decreases significantly. With age, a senior's skin produces about 25% of the vitamin D that a younger person's skin does under the same sun exposure. Second, many seniors spend less time outdoors due to mobility limitations, chronic illness, or lifestyle changes, further limiting their ability to generate vitamin D naturally. Third, aging kidneys and liver become less efficient at converting vitamin D into its active, usable form, further diminishing its benefits even if some dietary intake exists. Fourth, certain medications commonly prescribed to seniors, including steroids, anticonvulsants, and weight loss drugs can interfere with vitamin D absorption or metabolism, raising deficiency risk even more. Vitamin D is not optional for healthy aging. Vitamin D is not just another entry on a long list of recommended nutrients. For seniors, it's a frontline defender against the most feared consequences of aging: loss of mobility, independence, and strength. Its role in preventing falls, preserving muscle mass, maintaining bone density, and supporting balance makes it absolutely essential. While vitamin D deficiency remains widespread, it is also highly preventable by recognizing the signs early, getting regular blood tests, improving sun exposure, and supplementing when necessary. Seniors can take an active step towards safeguarding their mobility for years to come. Even in your 80s and 90s, it's possible to reclaim strength, rebuild muscle, and protect yourself against devastating falls, all starting with this single, powerful vitamin. When to get tested, recognizing the warning signs of vitamin D deficiency. As we age, one silent but significant shift happening inside the body is the gradual decline of vitamin D levels. While many people assume older adults have higher levels from years of sun exposure, the reality is quite the opposite. Vitamin D production in the skin naturally decreases with age, making older individuals far more vulnerable to deficiency than younger people. One of the earliest and most overlooked signs of low vitamin D is discomfort in the bones, especially in the lower back, hips, legs, or joints. This discomfort may appear subtly at first, perhaps a dull ache after walking, or a sense of heaviness in the legs, but over time, it can escalate into chronic pain or stiffness. Without sufficient vitamin D, the body struggles to absorb calcium, making bones weaker and more prone to microfractures and ongoing soreness. Another telltale sign is slow wound healing. Vitamin D plays a key role in tissue repair, helping the body regenerate skin and muscle tissue after injury. Seniors with low vitamin D levels often notice that even minor cuts, scrapes, or bruises take much longer to heal and may become easily infected. Muscle cramps, especially at night, are another common symptom. Vitamin D helps regulate muscle contractions by supporting nerve function and calcium balance within the muscles. When levels fall to low, leg cramps, spasms, or sudden tightening in the calves can disrupt sleep and make simple movements uncomfortable. Over time, these cramps contribute to greater muscle fatigue and reduced mobility. Given these warning signs, persistent leg pain, joint stiffness, slow wound healing, and frequent cramping, it becomes critically important for older adults to consider testing their vitamin D levels, the simple blood test that could change everything. Fortunately, confirming a vitamin D deficiency is both simple and accessible. A standard blood test called the 25-hydroxy-vitamin D test can quickly determine your current vitamin D status. This test measures the concentration of vitamin D circulating in your bloodstream and helps your healthcare provider assess whether your levels fall within a healthy range. Most medical professionals recommend testing, especially for individuals over 60, those with limited sun exposure, or anyone experiencing symptoms like muscle weakness, leg pain, or frequent infections. If your results indicate low vitamin D, your doctor may recommend targeted steps to help restore your levels safely. This often includes a combination of dietary changes, increased sun exposure, and supplementation. The goal is not just to bring levels back into range, but to sustain them over time, providing your body with consistent support for bone and muscle health. Step 1. Harness the power of natural sunlight. One of the body's most efficient ways to produce vitamin D is through direct exposure to sunlight. When ultraviolet UVB rays from the sun touch your skin, they trigger a natural process that generates vitamin D. However, aging skin produces vitamin D less effectively. A senior's skin synthesizes significantly less vitamin D compared to that of a younger adult, even with the same sun exposure. That's why regular, intentional time outdoors becomes more critical after 60. Experts recommend spending 20 to 30 minutes outdoors, 3 to 4 times per week, with arms, legs, and face exposed whenever possible. The optimal window for vitamin D production typically falls between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., when the sun's rays are strongest. For those living in northern climates, areas with frequent cloud cover, or during long winter months, natural sunlight may not provide enough UVB rays to produce sufficient vitamin D. In such cases, light therapy using a vitamin D lamp can offer a helpful alternative, mimicking the effect of sunlight and encouraging the body to generate more vitamin D naturally. Still, sunlight exposure alone may not fully meet the body's requirements. especially for seniors with already low levels. That's why dietary sources and supplements become essential components of a comprehensive vitamin D strategy. Step 2. Include vitamin D-rich foods in your daily diet. Although food alone may not entirely meet your vitamin D needs, certain foods offer a valuable nutritional boost. Prioritizing these foods can help improve your levels while providing other essential nutrients that support bone, joint, and muscle health. Fatty fish such as salmon, mackerel, sardines, and tuna are among the richest natural sources of vitamin D. A single 3.5-ounce serving of salmon, for example, provides approximately 570 international units of vitamin D, covering most of an adult's daily requirement. Egg yolks also offer a modest but consistent source, with one large egg yolk containing about 40 U of vitamin D. Including eggs in your breakfast or as part of a healthy lunch can help contribute to your intake. Dairy products, especially milk, yogurt, and cheese, are often fortified with vitamin D, making them easy and accessible options for seniors who consume dairy. For those following plant-based diets, many plant milks like almond, soy, and oat milk are also fortified with vitamin D. Mushrooms hold a unique place in the vitamin D conversation. When exposed to sunlight or ultraviolet light during growth, certain mushroom varieties like maitake and portobello naturally produce vitamin D2. Though not as potent as the D3 form found in animal products and supplements, vitamin D distill offers beneficial support, especially for vegetarians or vegans seeking plant-based options. While increasing these foods can make a meaningful difference, seniors with significant deficiencies may still require supplementation to reach and maintain optimal blood levels.